Hello, welcome to another cue breakdown. I've called this nature documentary not because it was specifically written for a nature documentary, but that's where it ended up. It actually started as quite a big orchestral cue. There was loads of woodwinds, the brass, there was loads of strings, trombones, all sorts of stuff. The library gave me some feedback and said, could you just break it down, make it a bit simpler, and give us a couple of sections and put some booms in because we think we might be able to find a home for it. As it turns out, it has then turned up in nature documentaries. So let's have a listen to it. Don't forget, if you like this sort of stuff, like and subscribe is always appreciated. So we'll have a listen through it. I'll flick through a couple of the different MIDI tracks as we go, and then I will break down what is going on for you. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay, there you go. So what have we got going on here? Well, let me just show you. This was the original little piano sketch I had going. So this is picking out the tune. Should we have a quick look at it? If I can remember what it was. So it's like an A minor, but with an E root note. That's a D with an F sharp root. An F. And then this is a G add 9 add 11. So that's the gist of what is going on behind the scenes. So this came back to me. It didn't actually have a piano as a lead instrument. It was all very much orchestral, and there was at least double the number of instruments going on here. So what I did was took this piano riff, and you'll hear it now. So this is the August Forester Grand piano, and it's got a bit of channel EQ to take out the low end. And it needed to be slightly darker, not as bright, I seem to remember was the feedback. So some of that top end has been rolled off as well. In the second half of this, we get a melody line come in. So let's turn that off. Now that's got reverb on it from Chromaverb. So together, so the melody really stands out. That's why it's on a separate track, and I haven't, effectively that's like a piano ostinato. The first section, because this is a bit of an odd cue because it's only a minute long, but we've got a 1 section and 2 section, and what is happening is we are swapping over different layers from one to the other. As it turns out, what they did was split it actually into 2 different cues, and then chopped and changed depending on the atmosphere they wanted during it. So there's this nice pad from Polaris going on, outlining some bass notes, and that is for the first half. That is taken over, that role is taken over by the Abbey Road 1 low legatos later on. So let's listen to them. And we've got Albion Colossus low strings. They are taking over from the ostinato of the piano. But to keep the piano sound in there, we do have these quite spaced out chords. But put those together. And I think the close mic'd nature of that, those ostinatos, really helps drive it. The other bit that's added to this, now when this was finished and stemmed out, there was obviously a version that didn't have the horns because they are quite prominent in terms of a melody. So instances without the horns have been used as well, but you'll hear those here. Now that's an interesting thing to point out. If you're looking at the MIDI notation here, notice that none of them are quantized. Well, a couple of them are on the beat, but a lot of them, in terms of looking at the MIDI, you might think, oh, well, that's off, but it's not, because for each orchestral VST that you're using, you do need to pay attention to what they sound like when they are played, and sounding these horn patches slightly earlier gives a chance for the transition and the instrument to have that initial breath go into it and form the note before it sounds like it hits its transient. So always pay attention, not necessarily to quantizing. I mean, if you're doing EDM, by all means, quantize to your heart's content so everything really sticks together. But in orchestral stuff, don't worry too much about looking at the MIDI, but use your ears to find out what's going on. What have we missed out? We've missed out the choir. Let's solo them. So it's just the epic choir from Spitfire. Just hanging out on those bass notes. So we've done piano, horn, epic choir. That's the ostinato strings. That's the low strings below. We've looked at those. The cymbals are just cymbal swells. And I was also requested to put some booms in, so Damage came to the rescue there. And what you can see I've done with the EQ there is made sure it really is a low boom. In terms of other effects, there's some reverb on those low strings. Everything else is pretty much as it is, or comes out of the box. I'll play that again as an outro for you. I hope you found that interesting. Little look at something which I thought initially was going to be this fantastic orchestral creation, but I got some feedback, paid attention to it, sent it off, and then that's put your ego to one side when you are getting notes from libraries, because they are listening to their clients and they know what the clients are requesting at any particular time. So if you can accommodate them, absolutely brilliant. That's the way to get your music heard. So I'll play that through again. I'll pop through and highlight the different MIDI bits as we go, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.